Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about books that a lot of people seem to like but I seem to don't. These are all older kind of backlist books because I've just trained myself to stay away from shitty books that I know I'm going to hate. So the first book is one that I did not finish, and that was To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. I really do not know what is the appeal of this book. I loved the first 50 pages so much because it had such an amazing family dynamic, but the rest of the story just I don't know. It was like watching Mariah Carey's New Year's Eve performance when she's just walking around on the stage not doing anything, and you're waiting for something to happen, and you're waiting for her to start something, and nothing ever happens. That's what this book reads like. It reads like Jenny Han was just winging it as she goes along. The main character made some really weird decisions, and I don't know if another girl was in that situation, like if a regular teenage person was in that situation, if they would have reacted the same way and made the same decisions. It was just bad, like really bad. And I know that I didn't finish it, but if I reach like 200 and something pages into a 300 and something page book and I am not engaged, then I'm sorry, it's not a book that's worth it for me. Moving on to books that I have finished, so y'all could pat down now. We have Allegiant by Veronica Roth. So I actually loved the Divergent trilogy. I loved the story of it, and I actually liked the story of Allegiant as well. My issue is with the writing and the format that Veronica chose to tell the last leg of this story. Now, her writing was never that great, but it was sufficient enough to carry the kind of story that this series was. But the crappy thing she did with this book was making it a dual perspective between Tris and Tobias. Not only did this logically make no sense because the first two books in the series were all from Tris's perspective, and then bam, we suddenly get to see what Four is seeing. But it was poorly done. Roth didn't have the skill to differentiate between both of their voices. I would be in the middle of Four's chapter thinking it's Tris, or in the middle of Tris's chapter thinking it's Four, and you just really can't tell the difference because they're both written in that atypical young adult voice. And the other thing is that it didn't serve any purpose to the story at all. It did not increase the scope of the story or whatever they were trying to pass it off as. We all know why she did that. I saw through this book like one can see through Donald Trump's weave. Legit though, his tracks are more obvious than his ties with Russia. But yeah, and on top of all of that, I just didn't really care for Four. Like, I barely gave two shits about Tris. Why do you think I want to know what Four is thinking? The next book is Looking for Alaska by John Green, or as I like to call it, the first book in the Looking for an Abundance of Paper Towns trilogy, in which all of the main characters change their identities but retain their personalities in each installment. Reading this after having read Paper Towns and An Abundance of Catherines, I saw the redundancy of John Green's writing. His character structure, the tone of his book, sometimes the plot, it's just really the same thing that happened in the last book, but just different circumstances, different names. And also, this was set up to be like a suspense novel. It's separated into before and after, and I was just, like, from the beginning of it, I knew what was going to happen, so I was just flipping through like, she dead yet? She dead yet? She dead yet? She dead? Okay, bye Felicia. Next up, we have The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, which I have talked about a lot recent. This is like the most recently hated book on my channel, and this was bad. I don't know why people praise this book so much. It has gotten so much. I bought it from the store and the girl was like, this is the best book she ever read, and I was like, you sure about that, boo? Because when I went into it, it was terrible. The writing was bad, the pacing was off, the characters were really bland. This book read like the author just learned how to write, and he wrote this book, and just because it's like about World War II and like a Jewish boy and a German boy becoming friends, like it's supposed to be all prolific, but I didn't buy into it. I thought it was trashy. I didn't like it. Sorry if it's your fave. Actually, I'm not sorry. Then we have The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. I am shocked that this book made it through editing, like legitimately shocked. First of all, the dual perspective thing was the same thing like Allegiant. I couldn't tell the difference between anybody because they all sounded the same. The main character was very bland, nothing interesting about her, she lacked any sort of substance. The love triangle thing was unnecessary and just there for the sake of being there. One of the main characters, the boy zombie or whatever you call him, he was irritating. I didn't like him. I thought he was annoying. And then the other love interest guy, he was, I don't understand why you wake up in this random stranger's bed and then 2 days later you're in love with him. Like, that makes no sense to me. And to top it all off, the big alien reveal to see what the aliens actually look like, they copied Xenon. Like, if you watch the third Xenon movie, they did that. So this book was trash and I didn't like it. And the final book that I have to talk about is probably my most hated book of all time. And if you know me, you know what this book is. That is Mosquito Land by David Arnold. The main reason why I hate this book is that it had potential. It had potential to be an excellent story because the story was actually good. Everything else was shit. Starting off with the writing, girl, this book read like It read like it started off as a Tumblr post. There's a tagline in the back of it where that's supposed to like, I can't remember what the words were, I'll put it up on the screen, but it's something along the lines of some like, oh my god, I'm neurons and electrons and like this circus and trampolines and like, bitch, what? This book was trying so hard to be something that it just could not be. On top of all of that, the main character was really shitty. I did not like her at all. She was one of those, I'm not like the other girls because I don't wear heels and I don't wear makeup and I wear like flat shoes and I'm so much better than the generics. It's like, honey, no, you are not. Bye. And there was this whole thing throughout the book where she was putting on like Native American war paint on her face because she felt like that was cool. And at one point in the book, she explicitly said that she doesn't care if it's politically correct. You could tell that David Arnold like knew what he was doing. And when you look at half of the reviews for this book, all of the reviewers for some reason feel the need to like put on war paint. I'm not trying to attack any of those people. Obviously, they don't know how not right that is, and I understand that a lot of people are just like, but what's the big deal? Like, let's think about it like this. For Halloween, a lot of you, some of you, but a lot of you would not go you know, wrapped up in a hijab or in a turban and go as a Muslim because you know that would be offensive. But the very same people who wouldn't do that go ahead and they wear Native American headdresses and paint their face and literally do the same exact thing to Native American people, costume their culture and their way of life. That's completely off of a different tangent with regards to this book, but I think that it's worth mentioning as well. But the thing I hated about this book the most is the way in which a character who had a learning disability was represented. He was used as comic relief, treated as their pet. There was actually a point where they referred to him as their pet, and there was also a point where they had to take him to a veterinarian because they apparently like all the health centers and hospitals were closed because that was so realistic, but a veterinarian is opened. This book was trash, just absolute trash. Don't read it, don't waste your time. I'm going to end the video here, and I'm not putting a disclaimer on this because if you were offended by my opinions on these books, then girl, that's your problem. Ain't nobody tell you to click on the video, you did that on your own. But regardless of whether or not you were pressed by this video, thank you all so much for watching. In the comments down below, make sure to list out some popular books that you did not like, as well as your thoughts on any of these if you have any. That being said, I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.